Hey, I'm pretty sure by now most every one of you out there has seen what's going on in Philadelphia. You're aware of the riots and the protests that are occurring after police shot a black man in the street who was wielding a bladed weapon. Now, a lot of people are asking me what is my opinion of this because they know I'm no fan of modern policing. I do not like the way police departments are militarized. I don't like the way they are free from consequence. I don't like how they shift the burden of danger onto the populace instead of having it on themselves. So, not a big fan of policing in general these days. But before I give my opinion of what happened, let's go over what happened here so that we're all working from a place of enlightenment, so to say. So we actually know what happened because it's on video. Well, one of the factors in this case is that the guy supposedly is severely mentally handicapped. So let's keep that in mind while we look at what's happening, and at the end we'll determine if that actually makes a difference or not. But what happens is police get a call about a man acting erratically with a knife, threatening people, etc. So the police show up. So let's keep that in mind. The police are actually responding to a call about a man being threatening with a knife. They're not responding to a jaywalking call or a check call, someone writing a bad check or something call. They're actually responding to a call about a person with a weapon presenting a danger to citizens. They didn't just pick someone out of the crowd and cause trouble. They're actually responding to this. So they show up, and lo and behold, there is a black man in the street with a bladed weapon acting very erratically, and police have to engage this person. It's not that they want to. This is their duty. They have to engage here. They don't have the option of going, I don't want any of that, and leaving. Or they don't have the option of like, that's his mother with him, she's trying to stop him. So they don't have the option of saying, well, then we'll just let her deal with it and go either. They are required to intervene there. So they do. They intervene. Now, whether this guy is mentally capable or mentally handicapped, whatever, they don't know this at this point in time. It doesn't matter what people tell them on the scene. All they can deal with is the fact that full-grown man, deadly weapon, acting erratically. Well, this continues on a little bit. The mother apparently is trying to calm him down, trying to get the knife away from him or whatever it is he has. If she's not successful, he brushes her off multiple times and he's stalking around. Police right now, while he's doing that, they're maintaining their distance. If you watch the video, they're doing a very good job of maintaining distance. When he comes back around towards them on the other side of the cars, they start using the cars as a barricade between him and them. They are constantly saying, drop the weapon, drop the knife, whatever. He is refusing to do so. They are very clearly not charging him. They are trying to allow time for him to comply, maybe even his mother to convince him to comply. They're maintaining a barrier between him and them with the cars, etc., and distance. Well, at this point in the video, when you get a little further on, while they're doing this, he decides to close that distance rather rapidly. He comes between two parked cars. He ain't walking, he's running. And he's got a bladed weapon in his hand. Now, those of us that carry guns know that there's a rule that states if someone with a bladed weapon gets within a certain range of you, even if you fire, there's still a good chance that you're going to be severely wounded. So you do not let them get within that range. Well, we as gun owners, we have an option of running away and trying to prevent them from ever getting in that range, or just saying, I want no part of this, and leaving and not being within that range of them. But police officers don't have that. Eventually, they're going to have to close that distance and they're going to have to come within range of that bladed weapon. It's just their responsibility. How much time they allow that person to drop the weapon before they have to do that is up to them. And these police officers looked like they were trying to give him as much time as they possibly could and every opportunity they could. But he cut that short when he decided to close the distance between them. So at that moment, it is a police officer doing his job, responding to a call about a violent person with a weapon, and that violent person with the weapon is now charging them in an aggressive manner, and they fire. That is totally acceptable as far as I'm concerned. If you look at all of this, There is no fault on these police officers at all. In fact, every one of these police officers involved here, I see doing exactly the right thing. And I see a person with a weapon doing every wrong thing they could possibly do. Now, I know a lot of people go say, yeah, but it's a different situation because he's mentally ill, he's handicapped. That doesn't matter. If someone charges me with a knife, I'm not going to give them an aptitude test before I decide whether I shoot. I'm going to deal with the threat. And the police don't have to give him an aptitude test. They deal with what's going on right then, right there. And if this guy would charge and stab police, what do you think he would do to other people that irritated him or he became, agitated with? Because if he is mentally ill, you cannot decide who he's going to decide to attack and who he's not, or who he's going to see as a threat and who he's not. So here, the police are not at fault at all. They did everything right. In fact, they should all be commended, not demonized. And everyone knows, like I say, I'm not coming at this from a police-biased position. I'm not a bootlicker. I'm not a Blue Lives Matter guy. I'm offended by the Blue Lives Matter flag. I think it's a desecration of the American flag. But these police officers were good cops that did good. So I don't understand the riots. I don't even understand the protests. Now, let's get one thing straight. I'm a big fan of protesting. Big First Amendment supporter. I think it's even more important than the Second Amendment. The only reason I think the Second Amendment is as important is so that it can protect the First Amendment. So big fan of free speech, big fan of protest, especially against the government. You'll never see me come down on the side of erring against protest. I would rather allow some bad actors to get away with bad things if it means protecting the protests than I would crack down on protests because of a few bad actors doing a bad thing. I support the First Amendment fully. So in this case, I don't see why there's protests, though. If there are protests, it shouldn't be against the police. And the rioting, there should never be rioting. That doesn't accomplish anything. As far as I'm concerned, rioters can be shot by the business owners, can be shot by the police. I don't really care about rioters. If you're rioting, you're a violent criminal, and you should be treated as such. You don't care about any cause. You're not making a public statement. You're not any of that stuff. You're just a criminal, and you're just confirming every negative stereotype that people have about people who go out and engage in civil disobedience. So, fuck you, as far as I'm concerned. But like I say, if anyone wants to protest right now, it shouldn't be against these cops or against the police. The community should be congratulating the police for doing this right and not overreacting and not, storming him and shooting him 50 times and blah, blah, blah. This wasn't someone who wrote a bad check who was killed while in custody. This isn't someone who was shot in the back, even though he was possibly going to get a weapon, and I believe those cops were justified too. But even here, there's not even that gray area. This was an armed man acting erratically in a public place who lunged at cops with a weapon. So cops did well. I think the public should be thanking the cops for doing their job. As much as I think you should thank anyone for doing their job. I say thank you to the bank teller. They're just doing their job, so you can do the same for police. But if you're protesting, this should be against the state, the federal government. The fact that healthcare in this country is so bad, mental health care, that this guy who maybe is severely mentally ill or disabled is not receiving the care he needs. Because if he was, he wouldn't be out on the street with a knife. He probably just turned over the care of his mother, who has no skill, no training, no support, no nothing in dealing with him, who probably sees him more as a burden than anything else. A lot of people do. And as a psychologist, I'll say that's okay, that's normal, that's what happens. Don't hate yourself for feeling that way if you have a relative like this. But the healthcare system in this country does not take care of people with mental illnesses or with mental disabilities. And that's on the government. That's not on the police. It's not the police's job to ignore the problems that come from it simply because the government's not doing their share. We need places that deal with people with mental health issues. We need caregivers. We need training for family members. We need support, everything. And we need a place to keep some people that are not safe for society. I'm sorry, some people are not safe for society. If the only thing that stands between you and going on a murderous rampage because you think, that the mailman is an alien and everyone else is helping him take over your brain, if the only thing that stops you from going on that murderous rampage is, the pill you have to take every 12 hours, and if missing one of them is what would spur the rampage, then you're not safe to be in society. I'm sorry. So this is not a problem with police. It's a problem with our mental health care system, yes. But like I say, that doesn't have anything to do with the police's job. They did their job. They did it well. There's no reason for protests against the police here. Like I said, maybe the government, but not against the police. They're 100% right in this. They did everything 100% right. I mean, they went out of their way to try to make sure this ended well. He just made it impossible for them to do that. So like I said, not their fault. If you want to be mad about the mental health stuff, look at the government for that. Don't look at the police. So protesters, keep that in mind. And as far as the rioting goes, there's never a justification for you people. You people can all drop dead for all I care. Hey, this is the Yankee Marshal just reminding everyone out there that if you disagree with anything I say in any one of my videos, be it something political or tactical, I am going to give you the opportunity to come talk to me face to face instead of just having to put stuff in comment sections where someone might not even read them. You can come in one of my live chats and tell me off in person. You just have to send an email to shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com, and in the subject line of that video put slap the yank, and then I will get back with you and set up a time where you can come in one of the live chats and tell me off face to face.